Okay. Let's call to order the meeting of the Green Bay Traffic, Bicycle, and Pedestrian Commission for Monday, October 22nd, 2018.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes,
I'd
sir.
move approval of B and C, the agenda in the minutes.
Okay. Motion made by Commissioner Thino, seconded by Alderman, Commissioner, is that official
Soon,
enough to
we'll
have
get
two official? Can I just use names, or do I need to,
First name is fine.
first name is fine? Okay, all right. Motion been made and seconded, all in favor?
Aye.
You want to vote on that one now?
Okay.
Oh, did I do that on the wrong one?
Yeah.
So we're going to vote electronically and all the,
Oh,
so,
If you could give us just, no,
yeah, tell me how to
this
do
was, that's just roll call.
Oh, but I still have to.
But there's no motion, we'll delete that.
Oh,
Approval of the agenda next. Second. And John.
figure it out.
I'm looking here yet myself.
And then, okay,
To vote?
right, now do you have item B1 active?
oh, we gotta do this.
Yeah, start voting. There it goes. Do you see something on your pad that says?
Vote for. No, it does, it just popped
There.
up.
Okay.
Good. I'm not
So
seeing
that's a
it.
yes.
I'm not seeing it.
Okay, so Brad sees it.
Yeah, you should have a little
Ray
box.
sees it.
It's, I think you gotta open up B,
Okay, I think you're
Right
on the
here?
wrong item.
Am I?
Yeah, go to B1.
yeah, just hit the arrow,
There you go.
and I did that, the box popped up.
So you have that now. Yeah, this-
But I'm not voting, when I logged in. I said
That's
I'm not
right,
voting,
that's right.
so
You wouldn't see
I'll
that
look at
screen, correct.
Okay, all right.
And then, okay, you were on approval of the agenda, so this is B1, right? Did it pop up for you or not?
Yeah, it did, and I hit
Oh, and then you voted already.
yes and save.
I just don't have Dan or Ray's. Ray's doing it right now.
Okay.
Back one, this is the back one.
Oh, you're not even signed in.
I
Alright.
was. How come I got signed out?
I think just from the back button. Just go ahead and sign back in.
Okay.
Yeah, you have to use your
D.
password.
This one has three, this one has three, I think it has two.
So we need to vote on that one too then? I'm not seeing that option pop up yet, but yeah, we did actually vote on both.
Yeah, you voted on it. We're waiting for one more vote.
And then we can get into C and.
Right.
Yes.
Yeah, I don't think it's gonna let you
I
until
got you.
Dan votes.
B1.
Okay, so you want.
How long did it take for that box to pop up after
Literally
you were on it? Was it
literally
almost
seconds.
immediately?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
Did it ask you if you were a voting member when you signed in?
It should.
Well, I can check on this end over here.
I could cancel it, we can redo it.
No, the question came up as whether or not he is a voting member.
Oh, I'd probably have to get out of here.
Right.
It's supposed to speed up the process, isn't it?
Or I can just click on yes for this one.
Yeah, well, we'll vote for you on this one, and then we're gonna check.
Now that I know what, I have to click that.
Okay.
Now go to C1.
So I'm C1 now.
Is that correct? Okay, now go to the vote.
Is it motion first or?
Oh,
vote?
motion first.
Okay.
So Dan, Chuck. Approve, save. Now go to the vote. Start vote.
Jeez, the folder coming out.
Okay, I see a couple pop up.
Yep.
Yeah, I know it popped in.
Looks like Dan was the only one that didn't get it.
It's
Still not up.
Still not popping up.
Okay. Ray, did you got yours? Okay.
We're on C now, so.
So, all right, we'll vote for you, Dan, on this one, and then we're gonna go to, go to
Go to C.
members. Just give us a second, we're just checking to see how he's logged in. So
Yeah.
he's present and voting. Oh, wait, you haven't joined the meeting, Dan? It says,
Where's that?
scroll on. See how it says that? It's waiting for him to join.
How can he be present and voting and not be joined, isn't it weird?
It does seem a little strange, but
So you go
I
back to the
believe you need to
beginning.
have both of those.
So that's where we
Where
were.
do I have to go?
I think it was right after you log in, it gives you that option.
Join meeting, present voting,
Okay,
and save.
Okay, we're good now.
okay. Is that coming up now?
No, for the next item it will. We already voted for you on those two.
Oh, on both?
Yeah, so
Okay.
now you just wait till the next motion.
Okay,
Okay?
all right, got it.
All right, I think we can roll with item D1. Go ahead and set that card.
You need a motion for B and C.
All right, we're ready.
Dan's motion was for B and C, so do we need to vote individually for C then now?
We already did.
You already did?
It's already
Yep.
done.
So we're on D1.
So we're on the D1 now? Okay,
Yep.
all right,
If you remember, there was 2 votes that were done. That was D1 and C1.
okay.
Okay.
All right, so we're on to D1.
Okay, regular business, item 1, consideration with possible action on a report by the police department of the 2018 third quarter serious injury and fatality crashes.
All right. Thank you, David, for bringing that up. Normally I make paper copies, I apologize, I did not do that, but if you look under this item, there should be a D1 2018 quarter 3. If you click on that, which says doc, it'll open up and you can actually follow along if you want to, or you can just check the screen.
There you go.
Mhm.
All right, I think they,
Now we're
everybody's got it up down
truly
here.
paperless now.
That's where we want to be.
So the first one we'll talk about occurred actually in the parking lot initially of Bay Beach, the Metro Boat Launch. Vehicle was parked there, idling, when all of a sudden it was put into drive. Reportedly drove at a very high rate of speed and actually went airborne for a short period of time entering the Fox River. There were emergency personnel, that being Coast Guard officers that actually saw this occurred. They went in the water, attempted to save the victim, who ended up being a 76-year-old Green Bay male, the only occupant of the vehicle. If I didn't say, I'm sorry, this occurred 7/11 at 8:23 a.m., so July 11th. Ultimately, they were not able to get to the victim, and the vehicle had to be towed from the water, and unfortunately, by that time, the occupant was deceased. There was no indication on the exact cause of the crash. You know, it's kind of left open as being either an accidental, medical, or suicide based on witness statements and investigations. No indication one way or the other of it being more one than the other, if that makes any sense. Second one occurred on Tuesday, August 28th, 5:46 a.m. A pedestrian was struck crossing the southbound lane of I-43 just north of the Mason Street exit. The pedestrian was a 29-year-old Green Bay male, had been walking down in the bank or in the north of the west shoulder of the interstate when he made an abrupt right-hand turn and actually stepped right in front of a southbound vehicle. The investigation hasn't determined any type of violations on the part of the driver. The male was struck and pronounced deceased at the scene. What we did find out after this was written and after a period of time investigating is that he had been involved in a motorcycle crash earlier that morning, later that night before, where he had possibly sustained a head injury. So there's some thought that he may have been concussed, and maybe that would explain why he was walking on the interstate like he was. But that, at this point, is speculation. The third one is
Brett,
yes.
real
Go ahead.
quick, Brett.
Yep.
So this occurred at 5:46 a.m. When approximately is the estimate of the other crash?
About 5 a.m., so about
Oh,
46
so
minutes
just
prior. He had
45
been
minutes
driving a
before.
motorcycle on wet pavement and didn't get involved with any other vehicles. He actually lost control of the motorcycle and slid. We had a witness eventually come forward a number of days after the fact and said, yeah, I talked to the guy and he had a big bump on his head prior to this second crash, I suppose you would call it.
Mhm.
Again, it's speculation. Unfortunately, he was deceased at the scene from mass head trauma, so it was hard to determine if, we would have not known that had we not had a witness come forward.
Right, and where did that one take place?
Alpine and Mason.
Oh, so nearby.
Right. And he was actually on his way to work in the Green Bay Industrial Park on the east side, so he initially was not really walking in the right direction, but at some point probably corrected himself, made a beeline eastbound, and that's what took him across the interstate. The next one was September 8th, 10:38 a.m. A motorcycle westbound on University Avenue struck a car that had turned left from Liebman Street. The car had a stop sign. There's a stoplight there, David.
At
a
University
stop
of
sign.
Humboldt
There's a stoplight there.
Signal, but Liebman is
Liebman
one-way,
stop
or
sign.
two-way stop control.
The male on the motorcycle, who was the sole occupant and operator, was transported to a local hospital. However, he pronounced deceased from head trauma. He was not wearing a helmet. Witness reported that he had been driving recklessly prior to the crash, doing wheelies, excessive speed, which the investigation led us to believe that the female driver of the car that was struck by him was not able to see him, probably from the speeding. The driver of that car, 73-year-old Green Bay resident, was not injured. And then finally, our fourth fatality in this period occurred on September 9th at 8:30 p.m. Also involved a motorcycle, this time southbound on Main Street, struck a car crossing Main Street from Newberry to Abrams. Newberry turns into Abrams, for those of us that aren't aware of that, so it's the same street. In this case, the driver of the car had a flashing red light. And again, witnesses reported the motorcycle driver driving at a pretty significant speed. Matter of fact, when he impacted the car, he spun it in a complete circle, which is not, I'll say it's not normal, but it's not what you would expect based on the posted speed limit of 30 miles an hour. The driver of the motorcycle sustained some pretty serious lower leg injuries. However, he had a passenger on the back seat, an 18-year-old female that was ejected, thrown over the car that he was struck, and she unfortunately died at the scene. The driver of the car, and she had a front seat passenger, a 16-year-old Green Bay boy, were not injured in the crash. This occurred during a Packer game, Sunday night Packer game. So the Brown County Sheriff's Department actually was called in to assist with the reconstruction of the crash. All of our recon workers were actually working on the football game, so that's why you see the Brown County Sheriff's Department assisting in that. And that would be the four for the third quarter.
Not a very good quarter.
No, it's not been a very good year. We
Been
had,
pretty good. How many does that make for the year now in the city?
I think eight,
Eight?
7 or 8.
In the city, yeah. I think it's
Yeah.
8.
8, I think we're at. No, we have none last year?
I was gonna say.
Last year, no, I think we had one, didn't we?
I mean, it was a significantly
Not
less
many,
number.
Yeah.
significant up from last year.
Right, so, and at least with 2 of these 4, it's the driving behavior of a motorcyclist really that was the causative factor. So there's definitely some enforcement that can be done. There's also people having to be educated about driving motorcycles.
Okay, thanks, Brad.
Yeah.
Entertain a motion to receive and place on file.
I'll make a motion to receive and place on file.
Second. Motion by Chuck, second by Ray. Anybody want to vote?
Oops.
Yep.
We've got one more.
D2?
Yeah, all the votes are recorded.
The next item should come up after everybody votes, right?
Not sure.
I gotta go back.
I think you have to select it.
was kidding.
I think you can just close that, right?
Go to the next one. All right.
Yeah, so the voting came up, right? So everyone voted?
Mhm.
It sounds like, okay. So now I think you just need to get back to the agenda and select D2.
Okay. That's where I'm at.
So does he announce the vote then, or?
I know, that's the problem.
I don't want to,
By the end of the night, we'll do that.
Yeah, I guess you'd have to say motion was made or approved.
am I going to get that on my screen then?
I honestly don't know. I don't know what you necessarily see on this end.
Because if everybody's voting,
Right.
I'm not gonna see what they vote. Right?
I don't think
I don't know how I would see how everybody's voting.
Unless you wanna do it verbally too.
Yeah, I guess that's something that we'll have to ask Celestine and the IT team.
Okay.
I'm not aware of you seeing the vote, but
Yeah,
if it's not popping up, then obviously it's.
I'm not getting it, so I don't know how everybody's
And
voting.
as chair of finance, I don't get to see the votes
You
either,
don't?
but
Gotcha.
then whoever's recording it reports what the votes are.
Okay.
Right, okay.
Oh.
Usually it's like unanimous,
Okay.
or if it's
Yeah.
not,
Do you
then
wanna-
they'll report who voted against it.
Okay.
Well, you could do that, Stacy, could, after everybody votes, you could say, you know,
Then you,
And when the
yeah,
votes are in, then you can announce them.
you can just say like 4 yeas and
Okay.
4 yes or 0, something like that.
Okay.
yeah, that's what happens when I chair a meeting.
Okay.
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 So you want to read that into the record then, Stacy?
Yeah.
So all votes marked as yes.
Okay, all right. Item 2, initial request, consideration with possible action on request by the traffic engineer to modify the heavy traffic route system by removing Erie Road and adding East Mason Street from Erie Road to the east city limits.
This item is more or less of a cleanup type of request. This, as you know, I'm showing you where it says County V, that's actually East Mason Street. Many of you may recall that East Mason Street actually teed into Erie Road at one time before this was extended a number of years ago, probably about 5 years ago. In review of the heavy truck route map, it was realized that the map was never updated to include East Mason Street. So what needs to happen, currently right now you'll see Erie Road and Finger extended out to Mason Street, used to be on the heavy truck route. We need to take these 2 segments off and in essence add East Mason Street up to this point, is really all it is. Just some cleanup work is all it really is.
Move approval.
Motion by Dan,
Second.
second by Ray.
Okay, so all votes marked as yes.
Okay, thank you.
We're getting it.
3, consideration with possible action on a request by Alderman Galvin to relocate the Hartum Street Bike Trail crossing off East Mason Street to Goodell Street due to safety concerns.
I'm not sure if you had the opportunity to review the packet, but I did include some information in the packet relative to background on this location. So if you look at the screen, you can see where the push pin is for D3. I'm just going to zoom out a little bit so you get an idea on where in the city this is. So East Mason Street, just, well, the actual crossing is just east of the East River. The proposal is to move the crossing here. I think this actually shows it quite well. You can see the East River Trail to the north, the East River Trail to the south. The crossing happens to be the west leg of the East Mason Street and Hartum Street intersection, and proceeds along the north end, goes across the bridge, and then connects. Many of you have lived through this and have lived through a few of these items as they've come to the Traffic Commission over the years, but in the late 2000s is actually when this crossing was made. There was an effort between the Parks Department and Public Works Department in order to get this installation installed. I'll show you a street view image of what we have in place. So as you can see, here's the East River Bridge, and although it's difficult to tell maybe from this image, but you can see there's a crest right on the bridge, so a little bit of a crest hill as eastbound motorists are coming over before this crossing. So as you can see, we have pedestrian warning signs, we have an overhead cantilevered sign with the pedestrian and bike symbol warning. You can see we have a state law sign saying yield to pedestrians. This is basically the overhead version of what you see for those in-street signs sometimes. There is a no left turn condition for all motorists at all times at the intersection. That was implemented many years, even before my time here at the city, so prior to 2006. It's my understanding that this no left turn condition was established because of lack of gaps in the opposing through movement, and that would surprise motorists coming over the bridge eastbound, and then someone would just be sitting there at an intersection taking a left. Fast forward to today, well, before I start bringing up some recent information, I guess one thing that should be noted is that this is probably one of the highest complaint areas that we get from pedestrians and bicyclists relative to lack of compliance of motorists stopping or yielding for pedestrians in this crosswalk. At one time, we did have flashing lights here, so really what they were LED lights around the perimeter of this sign and this sign, and in both directions. And that item again came up to the Traffic Commission years ago from a request from the Alder and the Neighborhood Association, Oak Grove, if I'm not mistaken, to remove the flashing component to those lights, given that it was providing a false sense of security to those that were crossing. So in other words, people would press the button. It was hard for them to see the actual LED lights flashing because they were flashing at the motorists and not at the people in the crosswalk, and especially parents that were concerned about their children crossing there, that that the cars just weren't stopping for them. So rather than have that in and have a younger person or anyone for that matter crossing the intersection and then vehicles not stopping, potentially getting hit, it was recommended, and it was actually approved at council level, to remove the flashing component of those lights. So this is what you see there today. We still do get calls and complaints about it, although they have tapered down over the years, but the calls still come in. The one thing I want to add to the discussion here is that I did do a cursory evaluation of crash history. So I looked at the 5-year crash history at this location. So over 5 years, we've had 16 crashes at this intersection. Of those crashes, one involved a northbound runner getting struck by an eastbound motorist. This occurred in 2015. So coming from this end over here, the runner just basically darted out into traffic and got hit by a motorist going in this direction, as you can see on the screen. So the runner was actually issued a written warning for darting out into traffic, because our state statute, although it does offer protections for pedestrians crossing the street in a marked or unmarked legal crosswalk, it does provide protection for the motorists as well, that if someone would dart out, I mean, it doesn't give them enough time to respond and react to that action. So in this case, actually, the pedestrian was at fault, so issued the written warning. 5 of the 16 crashes involved motorists stopping for pedestrians in the crosswalk. So it was actually noted that a pedestrian was either crossing or was about to cross. Motorists actually were stopping and complying to the law, yet it was still surprising other motorists coming up to the intersection that didn't necessarily know what was happening, and that there was just a stopped vehicle in a live lane of traffic, and then there was a rear end crash. So no pedestrians or motorists were struck or injured in those crashes. When it's really no pedestrians, I should say motorists injured as part of that. 4 of the 5 crashes occurred in 2018, so I thought that was kind of a unique statistic to find out that actually just this year, so we're talking just 3 quarters worth of crash data, that 4 of those 5 crashes actually occurred this year. So the motorist stop compliance may be increasing due to the recent increase in rear-end vehicle crashes while peds are crossing. Just as a way of information, 25,300 vehicles per day travel East Mason near this intersection. And in 2013, Public Works conducted a 12-hour pedestrian count, found that 34 bicyclists were crossing the intersection and 43 pedestrians. So there's definitely some activity happening. Those numbers sound high, but over a 12-hour period, that really doesn't amount to a lot per hour. But like I said, I just want to kind of focus in on the fact that, I'm going to probably attribute some of this probably to the Green Bay Police Department for their Operation Frogger efforts. I know that this has been a location that's been used for Operation Frogger. Those that don't know what Operation Frogger is, it's when there would be staged crossings of a pedestrian at a crosswalk, and there are officers observing whether or not there's compliance for that pedestrian crossing the street, and those that do not yield or stop for the pedestrian that's legally in the crosswalk are then pulled over, and either a written citation or a verbal warning or written warning is issued at the discretion of the officer. So I guess with that being said, let's just get back to the original item at hand, and the alder is looking for moving the crossing. I'll get back to
Hey, Dave.
a view of this.
Dave?
Dave, before you jump ahead, what time of day were those crashes? I'm assuming they were eastbound vehicles that were rear-ended?
I have a very cursory summary. I did not summarize the time of day, although anecdotally I do remember a lot of them occurring more in the afternoon.
Okay, so sun in the eyes weren't a factor?
No, like 12:30, 2 o'clock, I do remember some of them happening around that time frame. So I don't think that was necessarily the case. I didn't really, doesn't mean that there wasn't, but I do remember just spot checking some of them, that was the case. I do have, this is one of the crossing study from 13. This right here, this is actually my summary. So you can see 2014, 15, 16, 17, 18. Nothing too fancy, I just wanted to look at this. So you can see just a very generic description of what happened. So again, looking at those ones with, right here, it says ped not injured, just present while forcing traffic to stop. This was eastbound, rear end crash. Here's one eastbound slowing down, maybe for a ped, it wasn't enough detail, eastbound to eastbound. So again, here's that motion of coming over the bridge and then being surprised. This one is actually westbound, this one's eastbound, westbound, and then eastbound. So the majority of them are eastbound, some are westbound. So we are actually seeing a little bit of both. And the one thing is that those signs and the crossing, the overhead signs, the cantilevered signs are present for hundreds of feet in advance of the crossing. When we installed this installation almost a decade ago, that was one of the things we wanted to make sure is that it was highly visible, using fluorescent yellow backing on the signs, highly retroreflective. So I don't think visibility is an issue per se, but I think maybe the crest of the bridge may be contributing to some of it. But is that enough information there, Chuck? So, any other questions on the crashes? No? Okay. So getting back to the original request. So you have the crossing here, you can see where the trail is coming in. So the alder is actually saying, well, why don't we just move it over to this intersection? I guess that's an option. I'm not really sure that we have potential of reducing crashes. The only reason I say that is that we're further removed from this bridge, so any of the eastbound related crashes potentially could go down. The one thing though that is still, I see the pattern developing is that, and that's why I brought up the number of over 25,000 vehicles a day, is that you just have a lot of traffic on this road. And anytime you start introducing a stop condition, whether it's the way it is, whether, let's just say we had the RRFB, the rectangular rapid flashing beacons that are so popular around, or even a stoplight or a traffic signal. The fact of the matter is that you're stopping traffic that has 25,000 vehicles a day. So I think inherently, you're always going to have some sort of a rear end problem at this crossing. So whether it's gonna be here or there, I still think that you're still gonna have the problem. So I don't think it ever is gonna go completely away with whatever sort of treatment would ever be there. And quite frankly, I think the only thing that is ever going to solve this, and I know it's a very expensive solution, but it is one, would be a grade separated crossing of the trail and the roadway. Again, pedestrian bridges are expensive, but we do have a crash history that is there, and they do have grants available. The HSIP grant program from feds and state does offer at least an application process that you could put something like this through for that. HSIP, I believe they cap the projects at 1.7 million each. So I don't know how much a pedestrian bridge costs, but if you could build one for 1.7, this location potentially could be eligible. The good thing is that this is all parkland over here and over here. So, again, I haven't looked at the engineering component of this, just looking at it conceptually, that it at least is an option, I think, that is out there. That would be something that would have to be considered by Parks Department because it is their trail. That they should really be, I guess, part of the discussion.
So right now, Dave, you cross at Hartung,
Yes.
you walk on the south side of Mason to get
All right.
across the bridge,
The actual trail technically would be on the north side.
north side, okay.
Yeah. And then the crossing is right here.
I'm just thinking, what's the shortest path? So not to go down to Goodell Street, I mean, you could change that, but people are really gonna
Right. If you look at it
abide
now,
by that.
the pattern is this, as you watch the
Okay.
hand, right? So in the option that's presented as part of the request, the trail goers would have to go west, cross
There,
at Goodell,
do
again,
that.
an uncontrolled crossing,
That's my point.
and then go on the south side and over here. So it's a little bit, it's lengthier certainly.
Can they go on the south side? Is there
There's sidewalk on both
a
sides.
sidewalk there? Okay.
Yeah, there's sidewalk on both sides of Mason Street.
I made an appearance before the Traffic Commission before I was a member as president of the Oak Grove Neighborhood Association, which is the area to the right of the river. That's the Oak Grove neighborhood where I'm president of the association. To get rid of the flashing lights, I don't like this alternative at all because I think you're gonna have more violations caused by pedestrians and bikers because they, like our chairman said, they aren't gonna go down a block west, go across, and come back, well, almost 2 blocks, 3 blocks, no, 2 blocks, to get on the trail again. So I think you're gonna exasperate the situation, not solve anything. I would like to make motion to receive and place on file with the caveat of the traffic engineer looking at possible grant applications for a pedestrian bridge along with the Parks Department.
Okay. Do you want that as a complete motion, or do you think that perhaps maybe we need to get the Parks Department opinion? Maybe they have no interest in this. Or do you think that this should all go into one package? I agree, I mean, there's, Public Works is involved because of the trail, and we have a concern. So I guess I just wanted to just throw that out there. if you-
I guess my motion would be that I would be asking staff to contact the Parks, Recreation, and Forestry Department to see if there's another alternative here for a pedestrian bridge. I've even looked at putting a bridge or a pathway floating underneath the bridge, and there just isn't enough headroom.
Right. And the wa- and the
Because
water
it's a
elevation too,
terrible
I know is high.
intersection, it really is a bad intersection.
Okay.
Just one thing with the HISA application, you have to show the benefit, the cost of more than one. So the benefit would be the elimination of crashes, and do we have enough crashes to justify a cost of a bridge?
Right.
You might not. I'm not
Okay.
saying you don't, you might not. But that's something that they would flesh out in the application process, because if you can't show that, then your process is kind of, or your application is dead on arrival.
If you look at this, just looking at all the crashes over 5 years, we have a total of 4 injuries and 0 fatalities. And none of them are pedestrian related, they're all people within the cars or the vehicles.
Right, you have to show that they're related to the pedestrians are causing the crashes or the injuries in the vehicles by
So-
the rear ends.
So to put it, in other words, the cost of the 4 injuries would have to be higher than the cost of the bridge.
Correct.
Okay.
The bridge would have to eliminate those crashes
Right.
that caused those injuries, and that to justify the federal safety money.
Do you know, and I know no one ever wants to put a money value on this, but obviously they do in order to compute this. Do you know what they would for, say, an injury type crash?
I have no idea. Scotty Nelson and
Scott Nelson?
office does that, so
Okay.
I don't know what the numbers are.
All right, so we have a motion made by Dan. Are you,
So it's a two-part motion, is what I
Two-part,
heard, is
okay.
receive and place on file the request, and that to direct staff or the traffic engineer to investigate HISP funding for a grade separated crossing.
Right.
okay,
Okay.
do I hear a second?
I'll second it.
Motion made by Dan, seconded by Chuck. We can vote.
Oh, ready to go back?
Did you get the vote?
That one was all votes marked as yes, and then we made another vote, another motion.
Oh, well, I think the vote was on everything, unless you guys have different thoughts.
No,
Okay.
not both.
Okay. So,
Okay? Got a raised vote, Stacy?
Yes, I do,
Okay.
yep, all
All
yes.
right. For consideration with possible action on the request by Alderman Galvin to remove the school-related parking zones and signs related to the now relocated St. Thomas More School.
yeah. I'll just show you where this is located so you have an idea, if you do not already. Actually really close. So, St. Thomas More School used to be located for a number of years at the intersection of Irwin and Cass. And for this school year, had actually relocated back to its old building, which is over on Harvey Street, which is over by the it's co-locating with John Dewey Academy now. So as part of this, there's no need for any of the school-related parking signs on the street. There was actually only one zone, and that was on Irwin, so it was a no parking during school hours zone contiguous to the school. Cass Street did not have any school-related parking, but rather had permanent no parking restrictions on it due to the narrowness of the roadway. So there's nothing to change on that road. So it's really just one zone that we're looking to remove, and that would be no parking during school hours, west side of Irwin Avenue from Cass Street to a point 200 feet north of Cass Street. That's my recommendation.
Okay, our recommendation, do we have a
I'll make that motion.
motion? Motion by Chuck, second by Dan. Anybody wants to vote, please?
All votes marked as yes.
5, consideration with possible action on request by Power for Change staff to remove the 2-hour 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. Monday through Friday parking zone on the west side of Oakland Avenue, just north of Shawano Avenue.
I've shown a location here on the screen of the area. The Power for Change business is actually located on the northwest corner of Shawano and Oakland. As it sits right now, there is a 2-hour parking, 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. Monday through Friday zone on the west side of Oakland from a point, this is per our regulations, about 58 feet north of Shawano Avenue to a point 130 feet south of Hubbard, which is here. So it's a good part of this block in here. I guess it probably covers 2 to 3 of these homes in front of them. So it's my understanding, and we do have some people here to speak on behalf of the request from Power for Change, but it's my understanding, based on conversations, that the parking zone be removed so staff can park on the street in order to free up some on-site parking spaces for clients. But they are here to speak about this, and we do have a comment form that was submitted, so.
Is there no parking restrictions? Is that what you're looking for?
Well, the request would be to just remove it.
Just remove 2 hours.
To remove the 2-hour, yeah. And I'm looking here at the request and comment form. It's for Steve Sheffick and Vanessa Blanchett. We do have just one person at a time to
Sure.
speak.
Yep.
So if you wanted to speak separately, that's okay.
Do I have to come up with?
Just 1 second, we're gonna
Sure.
suspend
Yep.
the rules
Yeah, we
and
have
get
to
you going here.
Sure.
Do I hear a motion to suspend the rules?
So moved.
Motion by Ray, second by Chuck. Are we gonna vote on that?
No, open call.
Do we need to vote? We don't need to vote on that, do we? Or do we?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, we're gonna need a vote on that.
Okay.
It should be popping up any second.
All votes marked as yes.
Okay, all right, rules are suspended. Steve, you wanna come to the podium there? You have his address, everything you need, Dave, on the foreman?
Yes, I'll read, it's Steve Sheffick, 123 North Oakland Avenue. So, the one thing too, I do want to just clarify on here, you have marked your.
I made a mistake, I was
Okay.
against the parking, the motion to remove it.
Right,
that was
so-
not right.
If you don't mind, I'll just go ahead and mark
Sure.
this as you're for the request, for
Right.
approval of the request, okay.
One of the other difficulties with parking for our agency is we have very limited parking by permit. We have 7 spots total, one of which is handicapped by regulation. And the opposite side of the street is no parking. And it sounds like, in knowing the history of the building, this used to be the Fort Howard Library for many years, so it makes sense. At one point, there was 2-hour parking in front of the library. Obviously, we can't park on Shawano. So we're hoping that the 2-hour parking can be removed, so we can have clients able to park in the lot and our staff. We don't have a lot of staff, but basically I've told them to park on the street, and if they get a ticket, to give it to me until we find out about parking is changing. This
So you can see here's a no parking here at the corner, so this is at 58 feet or whatever it was I had mentioned before. And then here's where the 2-hour starts, and moving north, you'll see there, continues, and you should find another sign that has a left arrow on it. No, maybe not. I thought there was. There it is. So, this is at 200 feet north. So, in essence, the request would be, I mean, what you would actually see in the, on the street then would be just a removal of those signs, of the green signs.
Is there enough width on that street for
Yes.
Parking on both sides?
There's no parking on the other side of the
Oh,
street.
there's no parking on the other side, okay.
Right.
Right.
In the area that that is being
Okay.
requested, I mean, right now it's just regulated area, so people can still occupy it just on a limited basis. By removing the time stipulation, simply just, a car can occupy it at different hours. So yes, there's definitely, based off of the restriction on the other side, you can have parking on the west side and still maintain two-way traffic, given the no parking this side of the street on the east side of the road.
Okay. Anything else from you, sir?
Just if you had any questions.
Okay, any questions of?
Yeah, we can't, the parking lot we have, we can't make it bigger, we can't make it any bigger, so we don't have. And
Yeah.
we're usually not that far down the road, but.
You can see there's the parking lot for the business. So what, I think you can fit like 6 or 7 vehicles, right?
7 total, but one of them's handicapped,
Okay.
and we already have a variance, that's why we're a little bit closer to the sidewalk than is normally allowed.
And it's my understanding that if you would have to expand it, I think you'd probably have to go to zoning board of appeals to get that.
Yeah, that's not right. So.
Okay, thank you, sir. Vanessa, did you wish to speak?
I think he covered it.
Covered it, okay, all right. Okay, the motion go back to regular business then?
So move.
Motion by Randy, second by Dan, or like that, so.
Close for
All right,
All votes marked as yes.
okay, back to regular business then. Dave, I assume you've been out and looked at the request, and you have any issues with it?
No, I mean, from an engineering standpoint, there's definitely enough width there. The only thing that I would say is that we just preserve that no parking here to corner, because that's there to preserve the turning movements and sight vision at the intersection. That's not part of the request anyway.
Okay.
So, that no parking here to corner, I would definitely keep in place. And, I've had limited contact with Alderman Johnson on this. We did touch base on it, and I honestly don't know what his opinion is on it. I did see he popped in before, but, maybe he went to another meeting, but I honestly don't know what his opinion is on it.
All right. Okay, any other questions on this, or?
So
There's
moved.
no big generator down there that will clog it all up and get the neighborhood all upset?
No, not that I can think of. Just talking to some staff that's been here for a while, it's our understanding that the 2-hour zone was actually in place when this was, I think, like a Storeheims or a different restaurant that was probably a little bit more busy, and then, this parking lot would fill up pretty quick, and then restaurant goers would just park on the street, and I think what they did then, it was kind of like, I think what they were doing where, then the employees would be parked there all day, and then, it was always that way. So that's my understanding of what it was at that time. But it's 2018 now, and, it's really up to, everyone that comes to the meeting to speak for or against the item, and so, I guess here's the information that you have.
All right. Entertained a motion,
So moved.
motion by Dan,
I'll second.
seconded by Chuck. Who wants to vote?
All votes marked as yes.
Okay, all right, you're approved, you'll get your request.
Thanks very much.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Yeah,
We will
sign,
do that.
sign should come down relatively soon. I usually put the work orders in within this week. This one's an easy one because it's just a removal.
But it's like 2 or 3 signs.
Yeah, well, you normally, and it- not that it makes any difference to you, but we usually just leave any posts in place just in
Sure,
case
just in
something
case.
happens, and during that 90-day trial,
Sure.
that if something just explodes or has to get
Sure.
moved or whatever like that, at least those signposts are still in place, but after the 90-day trial, we usually remove them.
Great, well,
Thank
thank
you.
you, thank you for
Yep,
the
you're
research.
welcome.
Consideration with possible action on a request by the traffic engineer to update the index of traffic regulations as referenced in section 29.307, index of traffic regulations relative to regulatory traffic conditions on public streets that are no longer needed due to roadway modifications or were missing.
Could you translate that?
I'm not sure if you had gotten the entire packet or reviewed the entire packet. You'll see all the recommendations in there. I presented it in two forms. And this is probably maybe a good little history lesson. I can make it short. Once a year, it was my office's job to put together a list of parking and traffic regulations. This is, pre-electronic era and sharing of data and things. So if someone wanted a parking book, wanted to find out where the parking restrictions were, that's where they were located. We would give them to the staff up front in parking division so that if they ever had questions, they could look it up. But we have all this information now electronically, so it really didn't make sense to update and print all these books. So that it's basically just available in electronic format and upon request at all times, and we keep it up to date. Well, obviously, there was one chapter that was not up to date. So these changes that you're seeing on here are not things that just happened now. These are things that have happened probably over a decade plus. I'm just gonna give you some examples that you'll see on here. And then you'll go, oh, okay, that makes sense. Like right here, driveway at Cub Foods Military. Well, we all know Cub Foods doesn't exist anymore. So, and then also, this has to do with the reconfiguration of the medians on Military Avenue as well. So, any of you that were around back in 2008 to 2010 era, when we were designing and building that roadway, we reconfigured all of the medians and access points and left turn lanes and median openings. So, that's a prime example. Yeah, Leo at Military, same thing, we closed the median up there that used to be a signalized intersection. Shea at Velp, when Velp was reconstructed in 2012, that was that. So these should really come as no surprise. These are just, they don't exist anymore, a lot of them. The ones that you see crossed out, and then the ones that were highlighted and bolded were ones that were added because of that. So. Also, we had some, regulations, our ordinance book chapters were reconfigured a little bit differently too. So like 29.307 is a new reference. I think it was like 29.29 or 29.30. So when that ordinance book was reconfiguration and renumbered, that's some of those changes that are here as well. So nothing really, like I said, any big surprise in here. If anyone has any questions on any of these, I'd be more than happy to answer any of them. But it's kind of like that first item that came up where the truck route map was just not updated after a construction project. This is really no different. There just happens to be a whole bunch of them. So I do have them summarized in the meeting packet on how I want and presented in motion format. So really it's just, I got the summary of the removals, I got the summary of the additions of each of them, and that's really about it. So it's kind of just some cleanup work.
Okay, entertain a motion.
I'll make a motion to do everything that's in the summary.
Second.
Motion by Chuck, second by Dan. Votes, please.
Keeping it simple.
All votes marked as yes.
Okay, thank you. Informational next meeting, Monday, November 19th. Are there any conflicts anybody's aware of, their schedules, or?
I couldn't find any, I couldn't
Nope.
see like any
No Packer
football
game.
game, yeah, nothing like that.
All right. Your next meeting then?
Yep, and it should be back in 207 as well.
Okay. All right, and I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Motion by Ray, second by Dan, we're adjourned. Or, Yes, you gotta vote on that, don't you?
Yep, real quick, yeah. German, so. For you to look
I think it
at.
was Chuck then.
It was
Oh,
somebody.
I have to click on a couple things before I get there, so
No.
I'm just a little behind. So who initiated?
I moved to adjourn.
Ray initiated and Dan seconded, sorry.
Okay.
And then to adjourn, actually, I think.
Oh.
Yep. And then-
Somebody else in the same motion.
Okay, all votes marked as yes.
Up here.
Or adjourn.
They didn't ask back, but I screwed some stuff up again.
There you go, exit, and then power it off right on the left there.
All right.
Maybe one of these days I'll get it.
Are we gonna do the time end?
Who was the gentleman, do you know, sitting there?
What's that?
Who's the gentleman sitting there?
1 hour, that's not bad, Mr.
I
Chairman.
asked him if he had anything to speak, and he said no. All right, are you ready, Stacy?
No.
So we go a little better pace then.
Yeah, we're still on a learning curve, but it'll happen, we'll get full.
I unplugged my mouse.
Are you ready now?
No. I unplugged my mouse.
What's that?
I unplugged my mouse.
Yes.
Okay, now I'm ready.
Okay, on the count of 3, 1, 2, 3.